every time. But I'll say it again, the best businesses to sell are the ones that aren't for sale.
Yeah.
And it's really, really important, that you excuse yourself from these conversations of these Debbie Downers that have to want to follow the rules that's been followed for 50, 60 years. Nobody wants to meet for a nice coffee anymore and just have a conversation. And that's how we left that call. That's how JJ left the call. And then he calls another one that's for sale. And this business broker was like, no way. What do you guys got going on? What are you doing? I would absolutely love to split and
nice.
discuss this thing. Why not? Right. And so the point that I want to drive home today is, working with other brokers, you always say it, the word next. There are going to be ones that are going to be amazing to work with and represent you well in every manner. But there are some that you're like, just run for the hills and hit the next button. And that's what happened this week with JJ specifically. And we wanted him on to talk about it. But man, it's so crucial because he's going to sell a business with this person in a partnership and split it right down the middle, which is fantastic. So.
We're talking about like the bigger fish too, is that what you're trying to get to is a portfolio buyer with all of these. And so you're going to get these mom and pop shops, you're going to get, these buyers that are looking for their first business, but you're going to come across somebody that owns gas stations, that wants to buy a bunch, right? You're gonna come across, I think my mom came across this guy's got, 17 businesses or something like that too, which it's gonna happen. Like, it's not a matter of if, it's just when.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so keep shooting your shot, get out there and talk to as many people, especially the for sale by owner, and like we always say is they don't have anybody, you're their lifeline. So if you don't go out there and help them, no one's helping them. And so they're going to be excited and so like seeing a boat on the horizon when you're in the middle of the ocean, they're going to be excited to see it.
Yeah.
And so I think that, it's just one more, like the word next is, I was a cold caller. That's what we did. That's how I made my career. I had kids, so they were on my lap while I was cold calling, being yelled at. But the answer was always next. I had a big old just poster note right there. It was like next, because whether it's a good call or bad call, the answer is always the next one.
For sure.
Every time.
Well, I'm curious to see from you guys, you're starting to get the listings, the drop letters, right? You're possibly even entertaining a potential seller. Has anybody heard anybody or any stories recently from you guys? I know, sure, you closed the 800K one or the listing, but anybody before we got a listing, or any getting warmers out there right now?
Nothing right now.
Nothing right now. Highlander, how are you, by the way?
I'm better. Thank you.
Awesome.
How many, so Sherry, have you guys started, then we were talking about it on the Mastermind up there in Minnesota, have you guys started, possibly do the challenge?
So they wanted to get through the trainings this week, and then I'm hoping we can get the challenge started Monday. But I'm really excited. I don't see Joe here today, but he told me this is so cool. He's got an agent on his team who was at a service provider. The service provider said something about wanting to sell her business. That agent came back and just mentioned it to him, not knowing that Joe's looking to do business brokering. And so I just coached him to get out there this week and talk to that owner. And I don't know if he did it or not. I haven't had a chance to touch base with him, but
yeah.
I mean, that's like easy, low-hanging fruit. Go grab that business,
Yeah, for sure.
they are out there. And so I know that someone else had something too that was kind of a good lead. And so we just got to start taking action, massive action. Like I've told people, all I did after I got off that very first call with you guys was I took a little script and I've given it to all of them, my little Facebook Messenger script. I pasted it out to a bunch of businesses for sale and got some replies and went, oh crap, now what do I do? And so then, I turned to you guys, said, what do I do? And then I got the next thing. So don't worry about perfect. Don't worry about knowing everything. Just get out there and do it and go forward, and we can help you from one point to the next. It is so much easier to sign these businesses. That $875,000 med spa, I've never met the owners. I have never been in person. Like, you don't even have to have an in-person meeting. I tried, but they're like, oh no, we can't meet. Let's just do a phone call. And I haven't even talked to the missus yet. I kept trying, but she signed the paperwork. I'm like, hey, that's good. we'll get going on this. So just don't overcomplicate this.
Yeah. Well said.
And I think business owners too, and you'll have that because business owners they're business owners. They got stuff they got going on. Unlike, maybe a homeowner who's like, oh, I want to, like, you're not going to interview 15 brokers.
Mhm.
For one, there ain't going to be 15 brokers out there that you can interview.
No.
That are going to be like willing to take that. And they just want to get it on the market. They want to sell it. And so that's pretty exciting, Sherry.
Yeah, one thing too, and this is the part to where, we always get in our way of ourselves with this stuff, right?
100%.
As you're going through the trainings, as you complete that module, do exactly what you learned in that module already, and don't wait, because you will see that it will force you to continue that training at a much quicker pace.
Yeah.
If you start talking to these people. So, but what happens if you don't like cold calling? Let's just call a spade, right? What happens if you don't want to door knock? What happens if you don't want to do drop letters? You got, in my opinion, 2 doors you can go through.
An exit door and a
No.
no, sorry.
No, there's other doors, right?
Okay,
There's a
tell me
door,
about 'em.
there's a door you can do it, or there's a door where someone else can do it for you,
Mm.
right? And so it's one of those things to me where it's, if you haven't ever looked into it, and we did it, and I proved the concept to you as
I never had a car wash.
yeah, is get a VA, like for $300 a month, and have them cold call for you all day long. If you've not had any experience with the VA, you can get them really anywhere. I use the Philippines specifically because they speak very good English there, and it's fantastic. But for $300 a month part-time, they can make 80 phone calls a day or send 200 messages a day. They will find in Castanet and find businesses quick for you. If that's of interest to you. If you don't want to sit around on your phone on Facebook, which I don't, I'm not a big social media guy.
Yeah.
So I use VAs, and I encourage everybody else, if you want to invest that money, try it out for a week and do it yourself if you don't believe me.
Yeah, if you need help too, we can.
Yeah, we can help you with that. So.
Yeah, Corey can get. I mean, VAs. It's always like a skill. Like I think you should do it yourself, like maybe to start off with, and as soon as you want to get out, and you can teach someone how to do it. And even if you do have a VA and you're like, hey, go through this course, like totally fine with that, guys. Totally fine for you to let them go through the course and say, this is what I want you to do, especially with the messaging. And then as you start getting listings and you get more buyers and you start building buyers boxes and you start building a buyers list of those, and there's other resources out there. There's a really cool company called Resquared that we're working on a partnership with, and they basically have access to every business imaginable. You can send 150, it automatically sends 150 emails a day to new businesses. That's not counting like reoccurring ones, just emails, whatever it is. And then also it does unlimited DMs to direct messages in Instagram and Facebook. So there's a lot of options out there. So as you get going, the goal is for us to scale you guys up also. That you're not doing any of a lot of the legwork. You're really just doing the listing side of it.
Exactly.
But it takes us, going through these courses, understanding business brokering, doing a few transactions, and then after that point, we can easily scale you up. And you're like, hey, I don't really want to do this. That's okay. You don't have to. We got you. So we can figure that part out.
Heck, I use it for the restaurants. They call catering. What's that?
Did you say Resquared?
Resquared, I think that's what it's called. Resquared. Yeah.
The AI platform for selling to local businesses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's like, I think it's like $750 a month for one seat. And that's you getting, I think we're trying to work on a partnership. That's what we're working on a partnership. And the goal of this is to be able to, with our brokerage, our brokering firm, is that we want to be able to, whether it's biz buy sell, like we have a great deal with them too, that we want to be able to leverage the amount of people that we're sending to them, so you guys can get the best deal possible. That if anybody that was going to be an individual broker would never be able to get this deal, because they're gonna be like, no, you're just an individual person. But as far as us growing this company and getting brokers, our goal is to give you guys as much resources as possible and to save you as much money as possible on these things that, because it's not one of those things that everyone's going to want to do. But if you do want to do it, and if there is something else out there to you guys, and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, reach out to us, let us know, because we can possibly leverage our company to get you a better deal. It works almost every time.
Well, we have the partnership with online, it's called onlinejobs.ph. for the virtual assistants there.
Yep.
Again, if you've never done it, I'm telling you, once you use it, it's hard to get away from because they will help you with your life. They
I've
will
had
help you.
Vlad for 2 years and I don't know how I would ever operate without him.
Yeah,
I truly
we have
don't.
Albie and Jeff every day.
Yeah.
They're a blessing every day. So
Oh my gosh.
what about who else we got on the call here? Let's see. Thomas, at our any luck on your side yet?
I got some chats here.
Check. Okay, man. Okay.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, yeah, I haven't really started yet. I have an appointment with Sherry next week.
Okay. Hey, no excuses, Thomas. We need you already on there selling.
He's the one I
Working
told you about
No,
this
I'm gonna tell
morning.
Thomas he's gonna be, he got some game he's gonna be throwing, for sure.
He's the one I told you about.
I just wanted, I gave them a heads up that we have a new one coming out, like, all right, and so, I'm giving a little grace with these guys, because you literally just like talked this morning to me, so.
That's so great.
And we have, I'm going to send it out, this weekend, a whole 120-day plan for you all, that we put together. That is literally a checklist of everything that you possibly can do. I went over it 50 times. And so I have that all set up for you all to take a look at, so you can at least say, okay, this is what my 120-day plan, and it has milestones and everything on it too for you. So like of goals that we want to hit, and then also even some growth milestones that maybe not everyone's going to go after, but it'd be something that individuals be like, oh, I want to do that. And so I'm going to get that out to you guys too, which you're coming out on a good time, Thomas, because we're about ready to just start rocking and rolling on this.
Yeah, it's unleashing.
And get this.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The company where it stands right now. We haven't told a single person, and people told people, and we're playing catch up. To be very frank, honest, Thomas. Like it's been amazing, but the business brokerage world is so untapped. It's endless possibility. So I think if we could, let's go over real quick, and it's going to be in the trainings, and I want to talk a little bit to the latter part of business transactions, the full process, so people understand real quick, because I want to focus on the part to where what happens when a buyer backs out.
Ooh.
After it's been happening the last few weeks.
Dun, dun,
But before
dun.
we go to there real quick, again, just a quick 20,000-foot view. Again, you're going to take the trainings, you're going to be a broker. You're going to start filling out drop letters. You're going to get calls. It's not hard to get listings. I assure you, it is very, very easy to get listings if you follow the process. Again, Sherry's recipe. She's breaking every rule every record rule when it comes to this.
She's not breaking any rules. She's following the rules.
No, she better be breaking rules. She break rules, Cheryl, all day long. But
I'm following
so-
the process and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But you're going to get your listings, all right? And how you get those listings is by simply saying, hey, if you're tired of answering these phone calls about your business because you're trying to run the business, we'd love to help you.
Yeah.
Or if you're looking to get a little bit more money than what you're putting it on right now for Facebook or on Biz Buy Sell, because we have a proper company that will support you through marketing, through advertising, through qualifying buyers, you will go through the actual listing process there, right? Then you're going to field buyer phone calls. And the buyer phone calls are going to be, hey, tell me about this business and tell me what it means. And they're going to ask you the two famous questions. How much money can I make? And is the seller willing to drop on price? Those are always the famous two questions, right? And the answer is going to be up to you. But for me, it's always, we'll figure it out. We're going to figure it out either way, right? You want this business, we'll find a way, right?
All right.
Tell me if I'm missing something, right? Then we're going to get to the part to where you're going to get the buyers and you're going to put them through peaks and valleys on purpose, meaning you're going to have them sign an NDA. You're going to make them fill out or find the SIM and read through it and then call you back. Okay. You've now narrowed it down to 3 buyers, right? Or 2 buyers. Or you've maybe not even gotten a single call and you need to go back to the drawing board on how you advertise it. But let's pretend you did get the calls. And now they put in either one of the 2 things, an LOI or a purchase agreement. And again, an LOI is a letter of intent. It's basically a
Like how you do that.
intent. It's a pre-purchase, like, hey, I like this, but I'm not ready to get married yet, right? And I want to ask a few more questions.
Right.
You're gonna have some sellers out there that are gonna be like, hey, look, I don't want to talk to anybody unless I have an LOI.
Yeah.
And that's like, hey, turn over the P&Ls, turn over some tax accounting, right?
They want to know how serious you are.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, listen, I'm not asking you to get married, but let's at least get engaged. a
Let's
little bit.
engage, yep. And does it take it off the market with an LOI? It does not,
Absolutely not.
right? It is not.
If not, you go all to your buyers and say, I got an LOI, you should come in if you want this business. Like there's negotiating things that you do
Yeah,
for sure. You get an LOI, you call every buyer you possibly can and say, hey, I just want to make sure you didn't want this business.
yeah,
Because two things is like, nobody likes the woman. No one likes the woman when she's on the market. Everyone loves the woman when she's off.
off the market.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Maybe I should say more than hi for Valentine's Day then, huh?
Bro, I'm not giving you marriage advice. You're married longer than I have.
So then, you know, it's really important to go, this is where all the deals will start to fall through, okay?
Yeah.
And it goes LOI to purchase agreement. So logistically, what that means, and if you've ever sold real estate, you're gonna have the escrow payment. It goes to our lawyers or to your lawyer partnership in your state, right?
Right.
That means the marriage is now, we've got a date set for this wedding, right? So once that date's set, it begins due diligence. And due diligence is a lot more than a house inspection, right?
It's mostly, like, you're testing cake out, you're getting the right soup, colors, flowers, all that stuff.
Exactly. And you're going to find questions in there, and these potential buyers are going to ask questions that your seller's not ready to answer. And what that means is, tell me, why did you take this marketing strategy? Or tell me, why has this employee been here for your tenure only is 2 years in this restaurant business? Or why are your leases and permits not up to date?
Yeah.
And all these different things. And what happens is you get sellers that are like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this.
I mean, yeah.
I'm out.
It's like, getting engaged and you're like, okay, how much
Yep.
is your car payment? Like, what's your credit score? Like, you start going through these things, you're like, I don't know about that. I'm trying to stick with the marriage theme since it's Valentine's Day.
I like it. So the wedding set is the date is set, excuse me, and everything is on there, and all of a sudden you start finding about the in-laws, right? And you're like,
Oh,
whoa,
there we go.
right? So the in-laws cause a lot of divorces in business world. We're gonna keep the wedding thing on, right? And it's happened twice this week. And it's one of those things to different brokers out there that we've had. Like, how do I manage this? And like you would on anything, it's counseling. And it's getting the buyer and the seller on the same page from the beginning. And what I mean by that, I wanted to share our best practice is get them on a phone call as soon as the escrow payment has gone through and say, we have ourselves a deal, guys, and now we just need to push it to the goal line, push the end zone. And to do that, we need an expectations checklist. What do you really, really want? And knowing that you only have 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever the time period is, what's realistic on finding out? Like, you're not going to be able to find out what my last 6 months of marketing strategy has been because it's too complicated to really understand. But
Yeah, you can blow deals up too, because
yes,
when it's too complicated or there's too much, it feels overwhelming.
exactly.
You know?
Just like again, when you send those real estate papers to a potential buyer of a house, it's like signing your life away.
Oh, yeah.
It's exhausting, and I don't know if I want to answer all those questions to get a mortgage, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing from a seller standpoint. Like, look, I haven't filed taxes in the last 3 years, so you're asking me for taxes. I don't have them. What am I going to do, right? And so you really set those expectations up front on what is going to be covered and what's not going to be covered. Do not let free reins happen, because the more questions they have, the longer the deal gets extended, and the frustrated the seller becomes, and they just say, you know what, I've been doing this for 15 years. I don't want to sell to this type of buyer. Because I promise you, what's going to happen is this: the new buyer is going to come in and they're going to say, I don't care about any of this stuff. I just want to buy it because I want to buy the potential. And that's just what happens. And this, even the advertising company, right? They're like, I don't want to see anything. I already know what advertising means. I'm just going to pay cash for this thing. And
When's that close?
the first. Yeah, the first, right?
Still hoping it falls through.
Trash wants, yeah.
it.
Yep. And again, Thomas and by the way, I'm not sure who else is on the call. It's Thomas and
Pat,
Pat.
one more time.
still muted.
Is it Pat? Is that right? Is that here?
Yes, Pat.
Pat,
Okay, fair enough. Okay. That you're gonna find that honestly, the bug is buying businesses that you love. That every broker goes through this phase. It's really a sickness because you try and buy all these businesses because you see the good ones and the bad ones, and you're like, wow, this is really good. So again, Sherry, do not buy that spa business. Like we're brokers.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
exactly.
Really? Why don't you look in the mirror?
That's true.
The
Talking
glamping
to
one
the-
is one that catches my attention, the glamping, but I live too far away from it, so we're saying.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, that is that is one of the best things that I found as being a broker is that, you know, I come from the real estate investment space too,
Mhm.
is that so being a broker is really cool because you're getting the first look at these businesses that maybe you couldn't look at, that you can see the first potential in them. And I break this down in a video, but the best way to do it is, hey, you want to buy $1 million house, put 20% down, $100,000. Okay, and you rent.
200,000.
What's that? No,
20%.
200, yep, 200,000. Dang, yeah, this is even better now.
Yeah.
So 20% down,
Mhm.
$200,000. Okay, so if you want to get rental, especially here in Austin, you're probably going to make between 500 to 1,000 on like the perfect scenario. So let's call it 500 a month. So that's 12. That's you're making, you know, $6,000.
Yeah.
To $12,000 a year. Okay.
Yeah.
So I go buy $1 million business, put $20,000 down.
200.
$200,000 down, and it's going to be.
This is why you don't want Travis Helmig business. He tries to get
Yeah,
deals. for
yeah,
$20,000.
And well, that business, if it's 3x,
Mhm.
you're making $333,000 your first year.
Yeah.
So buying businesses that, especially if you can find ones that are, you know, absentee owner or that have been doing it for 16 years and have a 300. I'm still a little bitter about this. 300 like
Yeah.
client venue of advertising,
Yeah.
and you can add upon that and turn it digital. Like that is a crazy situation, which is why I wanted to buy that one advertising business, which was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But so that's the one thing I think as you start going in this is why just don't, we're brokers. You're gonna see this business and you're gonna be like, yeah, but
niche.
you're like, I could sell this and make 15%, or I can make X amount every year from this.
Well, you know what's even worse is when you can use that 15% to buy the business, which is even worse, right? You're like, instead of paying me, I'll just buy your business. You give me the 15% discount, and that'll be the down payment, and we'll plug.
I don't know. It's this LLC.
It's LLC. So again, what's really cool about that is, you know, you are going to put yourself into the situation of the seller, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to be a partner to these guys. And it's really rewarding to help them climb to the next chapter. But what, real quick, just so we have, because we have some newer brokers on the line, what is the multiplier? Tell them what that means, so they can understand that part of it.
Well, the multiplier, and I think it's at a 3.25 is what we're saying. I mean, it depends on the industry, though.
Right.
I mean, it really depends on the industry. I mean, you have an e-commerce one; it's probably going to be a little bit different if it's things like that. But basically, the multiplier is going to be how much the business is generating revenue-wise, and then we're timesing that. So if it's, let's just say they have $100,000 in revenue every year, is it gross or net?
Well, no, or profit.
Or profit.
Depending on which they say
Yeah.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So depending on that, so if it's $100,000, then you say it's 3.25. Okay, well, it's, you know, worth $325,000-ish dollars is what the business would be worth. So, you know, in three and a quarter years, you're making all your money back. And you only got to put, I mean, SBAs right now, you can get one for 10%, depending on.
Yeah.
Depending on, I mean, but that's the cool part is it's, to me, it's, you're looking for businesses that you can use creative financing that you can put zero down, and you can say, okay, I'm going to use this profit. So you say, hey, listen, I don't want to put anything down. I'm going to do whatever it is. You do a balloon payment for 3 years, and then after that 3 years, then you actually have to get a loan. But what you do is you're taking those profits to 4-year down payment. So you're holding those profits back for 3 years. And then you literally pay nothing for that business. So there's so many ways to do that.
Oh yeah.
And like, that's what I think when I started learning this, I was just figuring out the numbers. I was like, what was I doing all this real estate for?
Yeah.
Like really, it didn't make sense to me.
Well, think about it, you know, and this was my wake up call is, you know, say you, for math purposes, you make $100,000 a year and you're in a corporate job, you've been working for 15 years. You know, there's a lot of them that are saying, hey, look, this is not very rewarding. I don't have a purpose to this company anymore. I'm just kind of an 8 to 5 type of deal. Well, for me, all I have to do to buy a job that I can scale or do myself and fulfill my dreams, whether it be a yoga Pilates studio or a small convenient drugstore or whatever it is that's niche to certain, you know, organic, that's another one we have, organic type of supplements, right? I would love to do that, but I didn't realize that I could go buy my job for only $50,000 down, and I have $500,000 in my 401k saved up. So again, I call it the big corporate quit, but there are a lot of individuals
Yeah.
that are trying to sweep up the businesses that are getting sold every day or even getting closed, like the one I bought, because just simply nobody wanted to take it over because it was too much work, right? So it's so much opportunity out there for those that are just getting in and brokering themselves, but you just got to get a few dominoes to fall. Find the few listings and they will start coming over.
Get your minnows, use them for bait.
Yep.
And I think, it's really, I mean, I think from Jump Street, right when you start this, the first thing you should be doing is telling everyone, because odds are no one knows what a business broker is.
Mhm.
They're gonna have a lot of questions,
Mhm.
but also you can start posing questions, especially if you're on social media, and just as curiosity, you just say, hey, listen, has anyone ever thought about, if you could make the exact same amount that you're making in your job right now, but you could own your own business doing that, would anyone want to do that? I'm just curious. You're gonna get people that are gonna be responding, and it's not asking, hey, you want to buy a business, but it's really you're opening up curiosity to people.
Mhm.
And then, then you can start talking to people about that, because I would say, I mean, don't start this. Here's the one thing. There's so many startups,
Mhm.
and essentially we are kind of a startup here in a sense. But there's so many startups. The worst thing you can ever do is start a business. The best thing you can ever do is buy a business.
Mhm.
1000%, because it has proven that it's going to be. Did you ever hear about the SBA? Why it's so great is that opposed to even mortgages, if you buy a business, if you actually have one that's already existing, they have the lowest default rate.
Mhm.
Because they're going through and they're, oh yeah, this business is proven, and so that's what they're going to lend to.
Mhm.
And so they actually have a very low default rate. So if you can find a business that has been like that advertised,
SBA approved.
they were at 16 years in business, like they've been like, oh yeah, let's do it.
So that reminds me, so Sherry, just while we're on the topic, your listing that you just got, your next call should be to Scotty to get an SBA approved business
Okay,
to sell. Yep,
okay,
With that check
I'll do
box
that.
on there,
Put
that
that
check mark on it has to be approved.
because now every buyer can buy it with 10% down, right?
Yeah.
And it's, that's only costs $80,000 to buy a business that's making $250,000 a year in profit.
Yeah.
That's stealing, right? And in a lot of ways. So that reminds me on that topic, before we go get into the transaction call, is what happens when your buyer starts to ghost you after due diligence, which is the door number 2 of why
After due diligence,
after due diligence, and they're like, I don't want
so
to.
he's on the hook.
Mhm.
So time's running out.
Mhm. Yep.
What do you do?
I don't know.
Are you asking?
You run for the hills. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I would say get ready to. I would tell your seller, get ready to collect your earnest money.
Yeah, you earnest money.
How much did they put down?
It's $5,000.
I mean, you just got a $5,000 a month. Add that to your revenue, because
So the question is, why did they leave?
Yeah.
And here's some thoughts out there. Anybody, Lindari, your thoughts on why would somebody go through due diligence, all of it, and leave to buy a deal?
are they for sure gone? Or are they just being ghosted?
They're ghosting.
So how long?
3 weeks.
So is he a cash buyer?
No, it was finance buyer.
Like, okay, so do you have any? Who's he financed through?
It's through his own mortgage or through his own company, loan company.
Do we have that? Do we have their number?
No. Yeah, it's yeah, good questions asked, right?
That's it. That's a
Why does it happen? So
Well, yeah, that would be one thing I would say is, like, if somebody's financed, this is what you better get that. You better have follow up with that person.
100%.
So whoever JJ should probably next time learning experience.
This was not JJ though, but yeah.
Oh, was it?
No, this is not JJ.
Oh,
No,
okay.
this is another one.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is if you don't have the true qualifications of the actual buyer, meaning you don't have a relationship with the bank, or you haven't talked to the loan officer, you haven't proven that this person is legit, then what ended up happening, and I guarantee you it's gonna happen, is they weren't really approved. And they put the $5,000 down to risk the chance to buy time to get approved. And
Okay.
now they're not approved. So they're just gonna, instead of facing reality, they're gonna run for the hills.
Yeah, I
Right.
think, I think your responses to them are, I mean, you kind of have to be, you go to like the assumption close.
Mhm.
Hey, and then, because the thing is, maybe they're responding because they can't.
Mhm.
But the question would be, is the seller open to seller financing?
Great point. So yes, there's always a way. And so this is where I say to everybody on the call is when it's all about expectations, when you get the escrow payment and you're gonna get done and say, hey, look, things can happen to this deal. You may not like something that's in this business. Your bank may say, you know what, we don't like something that's in this business and we want to pull out of our lending. Always know there's going to be a way to get it done. Set the standard. Don't run for the hills. Like, we're a partner to you to help this get done. Every deal will have a flag thrown up and a amount to climb. Every single one. But exactly what happened is, we could have easily contacted them and said, hey, you know what? The owner's willing to actually owner finance 50% of this business. Because he knows that through due diligence, the bank is wanting to see this and he doesn't have that. And an example could be they don't have a manager in place so that they can run this absentee, or it could be something in the matter of, I thought that these employees were actual employees and they're really contractors. So that changes the game for the bank, right? Everybody can just leave if they wanted to. So one of those important things is always set the expectations with the potential buyers that, look, you're probably going to have a hiccup with financing. You're probably going to have a hiccup in due diligence, but we got it. We're going to get through this together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, go ahead. Anyone got a question?
Well,
Jump
I
in.
was just going to chime in a minute. It's me.
Yeah, Mom, chime in.
Hi.
I mean, sorry,
Well,
Deb, I'm coming for you
This
now.
is
Let's have
something I
it.
think I'm familiar with. So the best thing to do which is what I'm doing right now with one of my buyers, is I'm going to Scotty and we're going to get him into the lender, doing the SBA 413, answering all the questions for the business that he's interested in, getting all the documentation Scotty needs, and let's make sure that he's going to get a good solid approval, or know that he's approved and can move forward before he even finds a letter of intent or a purchase agreement. So it's kind of similar to how I do things on the residential side as well. And it's more safeguarded that way.
You nailed it. Well said.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer a question here too that was on there, Sherry. Yes, we do have the purchase agreement is in the hub in there. I don't think we have an LOI in there, but I do have one, so I have to put that in there though. I don't think that's one document we haven't
We've used
recorded.
it. We've used it obviously many times, but I don't
Yeah.
think we published it.
I don't
yet.
think we put it in there. Yeah.
So we don't
we-
want to use
we-
the purchase agreement as an LOI because it truly is a purchase
No.
agreement.
Yeah, yes. To Sherry's question, yes.
Okay, so I would say this is two things. If you have a buyer, if you have a buyer and you're trying to get, it just depends on the situation, and it depends on what the seller situation. And then you just got to read the room. Reading the room is the biggest thing. So you'll have it where, depending on what you want to get to your buyers to the point. So seller may not want to release certain documents until they have an LOI. So the conversation is to your buyer is like, hey, listen, it's an LOI. It means absolutely, like, we can throw this thing away. It's not binding. It's fine. Just let's get the LOI in there so you can get the more documents to make it figure out. Now, if your buyer is really serious about it, then do the purchase agreement. Like, so I think you have to read the room on that. You always want to get to the purchase agreement, but also fill out your buyer. Like, your buyer's like, oh, I'm thinking about, let's just see, and I want to put an offer in. Well, if you're putting an offer in and you kind of feel he's not serious and he's saying, hey, I want to put an LOI in, don't fight him. Just be water and say, okay, cool, put an LOI in, knowing that, and then you just explain to it, hey, listen, so this doesn't mean, I just want to know when we put this LOI in, this is non-binding on both sides. So if we come to an agreement on this LOI, then we can come back with a purchase agreement with the exact same amount, and he can say, no, I don't want that now.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do a purchase agreement and we both sign that, then it's contract, right? We are married. You know what I mean? If not, so you can always break down off the engagement, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, I think you have to read the room in all those situations. You have to read the room, but just don't try to force it one way or another. Just try to have conversations, and that's where the really good communication is, and especially with the buyer situation that whatever it was facing, is have these upfront conversations, knowing where it could go. Like, having these upfront conversations are going to save you so much. Like that. So let's just say there are people that will say, man, I didn't get approved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess I lost the 5,000. Now I'm embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
So if, to come back to them or, whatnot. So will you have those conversations, but hey, listen, and it's like having that buyer consultation too, of saying, hey, listen, if something happens, just know like, hey, we can work anything out. It's financing. That's the best part about owning, doing businesses. We can work something out. So no matter what comes up, let's have a conversation. And then obviously, getting in touch with the lender and having that as kind of a triangle of trust of you can talk to them. But I think having those things up front hand are the most important thing that you can possibly do.
Yep, 100%.
So just be water.
But yeah, be water. And then, but just realize too, if I'm a buyer and Travis is a buyer and he fills out an LOI and I fill out a purchase agreement, it's going to me. Because purchase agreements is the real deal.
Yes.
And so LOIs, and so also to take in perspective, the LOIs don't really happen for businesses under 200,000,
Not as much.
500,000. LOIs are more the 800 and up kind of thing, right? Where it's a big deal and I want to do my due diligence,
Yeah.
pre-due diligence, if you will. So again, if it's a yogurt shop selling for $125,000, no one's doing an LOI.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, otherwise just like either
Just
one or
skip
you
the
don't.
step. Skip the step. And most of the time I would say if it's around if it's over $1 million, that seller may not want to give information out because about that. So he may want to request an LOI to show your seriousness. No, I mean, no pizza shop that's worth $125,000 is like, I'm holding information until I get an LOI.
Yeah.
He's like, no, take this, please.
And come in, make some pizza and see if you like it.
Yeah, seriously. How are the
So it
pepperonis?
seems in the purchase agreement that there's still a due diligence period in there, so the buyer can back out and get the earnest money back, right?
Yes.
Two dual due diligences. You'll have the LOI due diligence, which is, they're gonna give you the general facts about the company, the domains they may own or the P&L they have, or what is their bills and OpEx costs. Then there is the purchase agreement where it's like, now I want to see everything.
Yeah.
And that'll be the second due diligence.
Yeah, I mean, you're using the LOI too. I mean, just depending on the situation, but you're using that to actually get more information from the seller or gauge the seriousness of your buyer.
And use this information that we just gave you to when you're getting that potential listing to say, hey, this is why it takes 90 to 120 days sometimes to close a business is because of due diligence itself. And now you can explain, the LOI and purchase agreement and what it means and how it can slow a deal down. That's okay. It's a deal. It's going to happen. Just slower process. And it buys you time as a broker to get the listing contract of 6 months. That makes sense. So we're at the time to where it's deal time.
Well, man, we're gonna eventually be getting some sound effects and some things that are
Some
like
cool stuff.
deal time.
Just don't let me operate because I'll just constantly
I
be
know,
distracted.
it'd be really annoying.
So yeah. So any deals, Lindera? I know Thomas, you don't have any or Pat yet. Sherry, I know you got the 800. I have an iPhone too. I think that's it.
It doesn't have to be a deal too. If you guys are dealing with this is when it's like we call it the round table. Just like seriously, if you're dealing with something, this could be a conversation that you're having. Yeah, it could be a question, it could be a conversation you're having with the seller, or list, anything that's going on that you're just like, man, I'm at a loss for here. Can you guys help me? Like, this is what it's all about. This is our collective learning environment. So all questions are amazing questions.
Mostly of what I'm running into is when I put in Memphis, Tennessee, I have to be very careful because the business might be 3 or 4 hours. It's a business that I'm interested in, and it might be 3 or 4 hours for me. And I got Memphis within 60 miles. So that's what I'm running into. There's nothing really, and I'm talking about when I'm doing Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
I have to be careful because they're all the way in Georgia, they're in Illinois. I mean, everything's showing up there. So that's what I'm running across is I have to be careful and make sure that it's Memphis. The other thing is I have not gone through the drop letter course, so I'll probably do that this evening and maybe walk around. Well, it won't be this weekend because we're supposed to be storming this weekend, but maybe walk around next week and pass those out and see how those do. Because Facebook Marketplace just doesn't work for Memphis.
Yeah, too big.
Have you tried BizBroker or
Biz by sell.
Biz by Sell?
That's it. That's the next thing I before you even do drop letters, do biz by sell.
I'll go there, do the training do the 30-day, how you listen in 30 days and go through all the websites and get all everything you can from there. Start working the web.
Most of
Go
those,
ahead.
the brokers here already have those covered on BizBroker Plus. You know, you can tell it's a broker, it's professional listed and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And I actually had one owner that I sent it to. The broker said that this was the last one he was doing because he was going into retirement and it was for a friend. So that's mostly what I'm running here.
Point. Where are you at right now? Which city?
Here's what I would do with that information. I'd call that guy back and be like, hey, any contacts that anybody that if you're doing this and you've been in the business for a while, anyone that comes to you, like I would love to be that person that you send them to, and I'll give you a referral.
No
Or why
response.
not? What's
No
that?
response. I reached
Yeah.
out. I said something close to that. No response from him.
You're in Memphis, right?
Correct.
City proper, okay. Like there are, I'm on that Biz by Sell right now, and there are,
Investor,
what's that?
I actually have an investor that's interested in laundromats, gas stations, all of that, but I'm just not finding it locally. Everything is anywhere from 2 to 4 hours away from me. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I would
I think,
really.
have you jumped on a call with Corey?
Yeah,
You guys need it. Have you guys jumped on a call yet?
not yet, no.
I think you should jump on a call with Corey, do a strategy call, and that's what you guys focus on. And figure out if you guys, because Corey will be able to like run through it with you, and you guys can jump on a Zoom and maybe you can drive and then you see what's out there. Maybe he can kind of give you some pointers on maybe Facebook or I'm sure there's got to be something.
Yeah, we'll do live. We're not just gonna learn, we'll actually call some people together.
Yeah.
And because I see a lot of stuff on Biz by Sell right now, that a pest control service company, edible arrangements company, all these companies that are for sale don't have brokers. They're just the owners selling them. A franchise pet store, that we could call them together, Lindera, and we can walk through it.
Okay,
Maybe
that'll be fine.
We'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Maybe we do it live on here and we actually do some live.
Well, we can record it.
Ooh.
We can record it too if
Yeah.
not, yeah. That'll be
Great.
fine, yeah.
Yeah, we can throw that on that.
Okay, good question. What else?
So I have a question, oh, go ahead, Pat.
Okay, maybe it's something with my computer or here at the brokerage, but when I put bizbrokerplus.com, I get nothing, and it goes into unsecure sites and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
What are we doing
So
wrong?
we have, it's a great question, and this is the bane of my existence right now. And Corey knows this.
That's a great question.
No, it's not. It's a little worse.
Question.
It's a great. So, have you jumped on the headquarters yet?
On Facebook.
On
No, I have
Facebook?
not.
Okay, get on there because I put something up there, and here's the issue, guys. And it said, I was in tears. I'm not gonna lie, I was in tears. The host, so we were switching hosts, and one host, actually both hosts, both told me, okay, we're good. We have a WordPress site, custom built. One site said, yeah, it's totally fine. And so I go to the next host and be like, hey, I just want to double check. And they're like, yeah, it should be good. Everything's good. It was not good. It was not good at all. And so we lost all of our data, everything. Maybe we might have been able to recover it.
I would have brought it to when I talked to you.
What's that?
I thought you knew that, or I would have brought it to your attention when I talked to you last.
Yeah, it
No,
just happened.
No. Tuesday. This was Tuesday. No, I knew exactly when it happened. I knew I'll tell you exactly where I was and my feelings that I was having at that moment.
Yeah.
No, I knew exactly what happened. So we were switching the host and they just, I asked everybody and nobody told me the exact thing. And so they're trying to recover certain things, but, these are the situations that thing took about a month to build, and so we're trying to recover. We should know today whether we can recover it. If not, then we're gonna have to get the team back together to work.
But yeah, but if you want to, Pat, go to hub.bizbrokerplus.com to get a general idea, and it shows you our courses, our archives. That was a kind of an arm of the website. You can see, and that's still running smoothly.
Yeah,
That's
so
all
that's
stuff
like
happens.
that's basically like our intranet. So that's where everything's at. There'll be a orientation course out next week about the whole thing about it. But if you're a broker, you're gonna probably go there more than BizBroker Plus because that's basically your listing site.
Yeah.
Everything else is. Was
Okay,
that?
tell us again what that is. Hub dot.
Oh, you want me to type it in here real quick?
Yeah, just type it. No, it's easy. Up.bizbrokerplus.com. And you'll love this website. It's great. If you haven't been to it either, Linda, it's great website. It's you.
Okay, we still can't see it here. Thomas,
Really?
help me.
Hold on.
It should be on,
Travis, help me.
it's on the chat. You guys can't see it?
There we go. Oh, thank you. Okay. We share an
Good.
office here.
Okay, cool. So if you go to, I'm gonna guide you through this right here. We have, if you ever want to get to this, there's an events page. It'll be, this is where you go straight, guys, to, if you guys need to, this was added. The events page will take you straight to this mastermind every week, straight to the Zoom. It's just a button. If you go into the contracts, that'll be with all of our contracts explaining everything. Archives is basically kind of our everything about the company. If it gets asked in support or things that we have, everything's on there very much in a blog fashion, explaining what it is and has a lot of attachments to it. And then we also have the courses on there too. So you see some courses are coming soon, but if you want to take, we have their orientation one coming soon, which we're redoing because of a lot of stuff we've done, but we also have 30 days, how to get listing in 30 days. We have a challenge coming. We have the art of discovery, which is on there. And we have a certification for our contracts. It's all on there. Those are courses that are on there currently available. So I would dive into that, but I'll send the 120-day checklist off and I'll tell you exactly what to do from A to Z this weekend.
Okay, and I did go on to Legacy Broker Plus and saw the courses there, so I took them there. Will they still count?
Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah, if you did like the courses, yeah, those are kind of intertwined. So
Okay.
because you guys, so we charge any brokers that aren't part of BizBroker Plus. And so they actually, we're charging $250 right now for anyone just to take the courses. So because you guys are part of it, we're just allowing, anyone, that's the whole goal of it. We want to help people, but if any brokers want to come on and they want to pay $250 that aren't part of BizBroker Plus, yeah, I'm not gonna not take their money.
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't want to advertise with it.
It must be okay because it never asked me for 250 and it just let me take them. So I hope I'm good.
You should be good. Yeah,
You're good. You're good.
Good.
Good stuff. We're so excited to have you guys. And again, set the
Thank
call up with and we'll get started. We'll start selling this business pretty quick.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good, good, good.
Sure, I know you mentioned something.
Just a real quick question. So you've mentioned like finding brokers that are doing it where they won't touch a business less than 2 million or whatever, and suggesting to them that if they come across something smaller, I'd be happy to list that and pay them a referral fee. Is that something that is best done where I say, let's go have coffee kind of thing and then ask for it there, or just kind of reach out for a phone call? And what % would you offer them?
Yeah, the best one to get is the We Sell Restaurant guys, because they only are allowed to sell restaurants by their contract. So they'll get,
Wow.
it's crazy. It's
So
like,
you got to find the franchise owner of your area and just call him.
Yeah.
He's going to basically be the guy.
exactly. And so what I tell our brokers here locally is like, so give them the restaurants and then you take everything else. And then everybody wins and they're all good to go. So they'll even sit down and talk to you about their careers and what they're doing. And I actually want to have Dave on here, Dave Deuce, who's our local We Sell Restaurants broker, have him come on our podcast. And let's just see what he's got to say. Yeah.
What % would you offer them?
Our company. He's going to be our restaurant tour specialist.
Tour specialist. Yeah. So
Yeah. What
Yeah,
do you
that's
offer
a
them
good-
as a referral fee for that if they want to do that?
I usually do
Okay.
$1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, $1,000
Well-
because your business to make 50. So $1,000 is nothing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think we usually do percentages.
Let's do $1,000. That sounds better. I don't know percentage because they'll never know. They have no interest in selling these businesses, and so again, the big one and how we got the marketing company was they didn't want to touch a business that was under $5 million. So you go to those business brokerages where they look like law firms and they got 2 people and they only sell $15 million businesses. Go knock on their door and say, hey, I want to be your arm that sells the businesses under $5 million. And they will happily give them to you, and then just say, I'll pay you a point or 2 points based off of this. They'll happily take it. So,
Yeah.
and
All right.
Tom Pat didn't know this story last week. We had a marketing firm that interviewed 3 brokers. We were the 4th, and they all 3 told them no, they don't want to sell their business And it was a, was it $600,000? I think it was $500,000 business.
Yeah.
$500,000 business. So the broker's gonna make $60,000 and it was just handed to them.
Nice.
Crazy.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you. I gotta run. I'm late to another call, but thank you. That was really awesome, you guys. Have a good
All
weekend.
right.
All right, guys. Well, hey,
Bye.
nice meeting you, Thomas, Patty. I'm looking forward to meeting with you. And then we'll send all that stuff out. What I would suggest is the next step would be obviously take the 30-day, how to get a listing in 30 days. If you guys have access to that, do that, but schedule a strategy call.
Yep.
I'll send you guys the contact, how to do that. And then because that's going to be huge for you, get off the Corey and kind of walk you through the process and any questions that you have.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. See you
Have
guys.
a blessed day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Stay warm.
Guys, happy Valentine's Day.